Hello everyone. Today we are making the presentation of a topic AI art as a bellwether for generative AI governance. So, is the world debate about AI generative art just a niche fighting among artists, or does it actually resolve some deep structural problems with how we govern all generative AI systems? In this video, I'm going to argue that AI art is a bellwether. It, like a test case, exposes tension around authorship, data rights, legal framework, and even environmental impact. And these tensions are going to spread far beyond the artwork. I am using an article based on Dr. Cunningham's AI of the Beholder as our foundation. But I will also bring in recent court rulings, academic studies, and policy updates. Because what happened to a fantasy painter like Greg Rukowski may actually tell us a lot about the future of hiring, healthcare, finance, not just art. So the first topic is about introduction of AI art as a governance prototype. Doctor Cunningham shows how models like Stable Diffusion are trained on massive databases like Lion 5B, which has nearly 6 billion images scraped on the internet, often without creators even know knowledge about it. That is what calls scrap now justify later culture. Now, that's not unique to art, but art makes the problem really visible because an art style in person is personal and valuable. Think about illustrator Carla Ortiz. Dr. Cunningham mentioned that she finds AI-generated images that look almost identical to her own work. Or the late Kim Jong-gi, right after he died, AI tools started producing works in his signature style. That raises through questions. If an AI learned to mimic your style, is that a fit, or is just a form of learning? That same question show up everywhere. Take hiring, Taking hiring, for example. AI recruitment tools are trained on past resumes and hiring decisions. If this past decision were biased, say against older workers or minor group, the AI learns the AI actually learns that bias. It doesn't have to be told to discriminate. It just pick up from the data. The U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission has already settled cases like that. So, whether we are talking about a fantasy painting or a list of job candidates, the governance challenge is the same. How do we assign rights, responsibility, and fair compensation when the machine learns from millions of human examples, often without anyone's permission? The next question is about the training data debate, concepts, and the consequences. Because it is where things get really messy, that is not just about artists feeling hurt. Lion 5B is a dataset of almost 6 billion images built by a German nonprofit for open research. But here's a problem. In 2023, ABC News reported thousands of artists found their works in there without their knowledge, using a website called Have I Been Trained, and it gets worse. In 2022, a California artist discovered that her private medical record photos, which is a totally personal issue, from back in 2013 were also included in the dataset. That is a major privacy violation. Now, what does the law say? It's contradictory. In September 2024, a court in Hamburg, Germany, ruled that Lion didn't break copyright law by using a photographer's image for research because German law has an exception for scientific research. So even personal medical photos could be legally scrapped if it is called research. In response, the EU AI Act, which took effect in 2024, now says the creators must have the ability to opt out of having their works used for AI training. But the catch is, artists have to actively reserve their rights, often by putting machine-readable code on their website, and AI companies don't have to ask permission first. So the stakes here are huge. The question is, should human creative and private data be free raw material for AI companies, or should consent and compensation be the default? The next question is about the legal and the governance shortcomings. So the legal system is really struggling to keep up. Let me give you two clear examples. One, the seller case. In March 2025, a US appeals court finally said no, a non-human machine cannot be authored under copyright law. The Copyright Office also clarified that even very detailed prompts are not enough. To get copyright, a human has to have creative control over the final output. But here's the problem. Where exactly is the line between using AI as a tool and AI being the author? Dr. Cunningham points out that the favorite project of animals sold for over $400,000, but the teenager who actually coded the AI got nothing. The gray zone still hasn't been resolved. The second example comes from England. In November 2025, the High Court in Getty Image versus Stability AI became the first court in the Commonwealth to seriously ask whether training AI on unlicensed images count as secondary infringement. They didn't give a final answer, but just ask a question shows how badly our law fits. And here's a deeper mismatch. The Digital Millennium Copyright Act, so-called DMCA, was built for world of exact copies. You put a photo online, someone copied it, you send the takedown notice, but an AI now model doesn't store copy. It stores mathematical ways that behave like original work. So the main legal battle now is over fair use, which is a case-by-case defense, not a clear rule. That leaves artists and developers both in a fog. That's not a bug. It is a sign that our laws were made for a different area. The last question go beyond art is border application and risk. Because uh, those same tensions are problem art everywhere, including hiring. Take a case of a Mobley and Workday from 2024. A job application sued Workday. A job applicant sued Workday, claimed that its AI screening tool discriminates against older applicants. The lawsuit is still ongoing, and the current question is exactly the same as with Arthur Rokowski. When an AI learns from a past human decision or past artwork, how is responsible for the outcome? And who is responsible for the outcome? The EOS has already said that the employer can't blame the algorithm, they still on the hood. Dr. Cuningham's moral crumble soon again. The most visible person gets the blame, even if the real cause is spread across dataset and code. Healthcare. AI diagnostic tools are now better than some radiologists at spotting central condition. But when an algorithm misses a brain bleeding, who gets sued? The doctor, hospital, the software company? Legal scholars like Frank Ramos argue that we will see a mix of medical malpractice and product liability claims. And here's a twist. If AI is generated better than humans, not using it could be considered a negligence. That's the same structural tension. Responsibility gets diffused, but the law wants a single defendant. Next is finance. Think about the algorithm-based trading. Some AI systems learn and adapt on their own. They could end up manipulating the market for fixing price without a human mean to do. But the finance crime law requires intent, a guilty mind. And AI has no mind, so who goes to jail? Nobody. That's the authorship problem all over again. It's just a different content. So, in art hiring, healthcare, and finance, the same question keeps coming back. How do we assign legal rights, duties, and liability with a machine that learns from massive, often unconsented historical bias of human data? And finally, we make a conclusion. AIR is a bellwether because it forces us to ask a fundamental question that every generative AI system arises. Questions about consent, authorship, liability, and even environmental sustainability. Because training those models uses massive amount of water and electricity, a study shows that hidden environmental cost is a part of the same accountability problems. The lawsuits over Law 5B, Author and Anderson are not just about art. They are the first draft of a new legal and uh, ethical framework for the age of generative AI. Will that framework prioritize transparency, consent, and fairness, or will we continue to protect only the most visible players, the companies that package and selling outputs? The answer will be shaped not just the future of art, but the future of the world. Health, finance, and justice in every field touched by machine learning. Thank you for watching.